welcome to my solo video. Pilots remember their solos as it's the first time you're completely alone and in charge of the aircraft. I need to thank my instructor Adrian for getting me there. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and if you're a pilot that it brings back some memories, please remember to like and subscribe. So here's Adrian getting out of the plane. He's just saying how fast it's going to take off. Keep an eye on the airspeed. In flying, speed is life. And also things like if it looks bad, just go around. So I did do one go around. I didn't use enough rudder on my first landing and it was going a bit to the left. So there goes Adrian. Put a quick radio call in just to say departing 3-1. Looking towards the threshold. Just a quick look to check no other planes are coming in. And then lining up on 3-1. So a final check of the instruments just to check the temperatures and pressures are okay. Flaps are in the right place, etc. So I actually put the flaps down in the turn. Applying full throttle. And as soon as the aircraft comes off the ground, you release the back pressure on the stick, so slight nose forward just to let the airspeed build up. Not that it was really a problem with one person in there, because it just rockets along, as Adrian said. In fact, I had to be quite quick on the flaps, because you can damage them if you leave them down when you're going too fast. So if I had an engine failure here, the best option would be to go left, in front of the wood, and down in that brown field to the left. There's a slight uphill, which is beneficial, and it's just been freshly cut. Once we get over the woods, it's pretty much best just to go straight on. We did do a simulated engine failure earlier in the day. So one thing sure to upset any pilot is the sound of an engine running down when he hasn't commanded it. First thing is to immediately adopt the best glide speed, which is 60 knots in this aircraft, trading the speed for a little bit more altitude. Then pick a field. You obviously can't gain altitude without an engine, but you can lose it quite quickly. So there's a field on the left. That'd be a good bet if you could get down a bit lower. We could carry on going straight where we are now. Or there's some ditches in that field which aren't great. Now back to the solo. So continuing my gentle climbing turn here. It did reach circuit height really quickly, so I just continued it round. I'm going to skip a few portions of this circuit because this was my go around, so it's not quite so interesting. Off to the right here you can see the airfield in the distance by those diamond shaped woods. I'm just reducing power here slightly as it's still trying to ascend, and then I'm into a FREDA check, so that's fuel, radio, engine, direction and altitude. Fuel, check you have enough quantity for a go around. Ensure you have the correct tank selected. Radio, ensure you're on the right frequency when you're broadcasting your calls. Also put a call in if you haven't done already. So I'll put my downwind call in. Engine, this is things like temperatures and pressures. Check everything's in the green. And also electrical, so ensure you've turned off any unnecessary electronics. Also ensure you've turned those on that you need. Direction, this is ensuring the direction indicator is aligned with the compass and also that you're going in roughly the right direction. I'm not so worried as this is a bit of a weird approach, so it's more visual than trying to stick on a fixed heading. And then finally altitude, so this is ensuring you're on the right QFE setting, so maintaining 1,000 feet, ready for the turn onto base. I've done a separate video explaining QFE if you want to check that out in the top corner. As I had to do a go around on this circuit, I'll skip forward a little bit. I'll show you the go around. So I've ended up too low here. And I'm having to drag myself in with power. Of course if you add power, you add speed, when really you just want to be bleeding speed off, keeping the aircraft flying and coming into land softly. I can see myself going to the left, so I decide just to power on and go around. Also note how quick I have to be on getting those flaps up. So you can see I'm not really happy here. Trying to think about what I could do better on the next turn. And then you start thinking about stupid things like, oh, I'm going to mess it up again. The sun's going down. I'm going to have to land in the dark. Stupid things like that. It's only for a few seconds, and then you realise you need to just fly the airplane. To be honest, it's any excuse to stay in the sky for another couple of minutes. Yeah, that's the reason. So back onto crosswind. Lots of landing options there with all the fields. The CT2K does actually have a parachute as well for the whole craft, so you're pretty well covered. So there's another check pilots can do, which is called bump fitch. I'll detail it in the description. Back around onto downwind. Just look at the view. There's actually a large chicken farm there that I'm using as a visual reference. As well as a wind farm. Wind farms are always a useful visual aid. But you can see me checking my harness there. Just putting in a downwind radio call. So it's essentially who you're talking to, who you are, and what you're doing. So it'd be Sackville traffic, Golf Tango Oscar Mike Juliet, downwind 3-1 to land. You're meant to pronounce free as tree to avoid confusion on the radio. So this is turn onto base leg, a slight descending turn. Reduce the engine power. So I'll pull the nose up slightly to reduce speed so I can deploy the flaps. Flaps change the configuration of the wing and give you more lift at lower speed. When you put 30 degrees down, it really adds a lot of drag as well. So with landings, you're trying to slow the aircraft down, remove energy from the landing, but not take so much speed off that you stall. A stall is essentially where the aircraft departs flight. It can be caused by a number of factors. Airflow is one of them. Also, as the aircraft slows, the control surfaces get a bit more sloppy, so you have to add that to the mix as well. So it's quite a close balance. Trying to hold it at 55 knots here. The stall speed's 37. As we get closer to the ground here, the chances of recovery from the stall diminish. You do not want to stall close to the ground. Keeping it 55 over the oak trees, being cautious of a wing drop. And then once over the oak trees, down to 50 knots. This approach was much better. I didn't have to mess around with the throttle. There's one fewer variable to think about. And then down, stick right back to protect the nose. My body language there betraying my apprehension a little bit, though my face stays quite calm. And also cadence braking.
Well done, mate, that was a greaser.
A greaser is just a term for a smooth landing. And then taxi back to the hangar. So thanks again, Adrian. Tell me about your solos in the comments.